Hello everyone. Good afternoon. Let us begin this session with a very inspiring video.
So the most transformative moment of my teaching career happened when I wasn't even teaching. It was when my son was born. I felt like I had been struck by a tidal wave of love. And when I found my feet again, everything in life had meaning and purpose. I realized that parental love is one of nature's great forces, and that all parents feel some version of this power. I returned to teaching from maternity leave with my heart open to the simple truth that parents love children. And I still try to remember every day that every child in every class I teach is the meaning of someone's life. Every child I teach is someone who deserves honor and respect. And now, 4 years later, when I hear my son Dylan chatting up a neighbor about the newest Cinderella movie or complimenting a playground buddy on the color of their shirt, he reinvigorates my commitment to honor and respect young people. Good teachers do not have to be parents, but parents and teachers do have a lot in common, and I think sometimes teachers and parents forget that we want the same things for our kids. But in my 16 years of teaching, I've never met a parent or a teacher who didn't desperately want their child to succeed. When Dylan was about 2 years old, my husband and I were strolling with him through our neighborhood on a sunny Saturday afternoon. We were checking out all the neighbors' gardens, and we ran into a college acquaintance of my husband, who told us that his children attend the local gifted and talented magnet. And then he told us most of the children in this neighborhood go there. And I couldn't help but think, does geography determine giftedness? That can't be right. It must be that the resources available to families, which are greater in more affluent neighborhoods, determine academic performance. I read a recent study that compared zip codes and school funding and academic performance. And in this study, the researchers found that students from low-income families that attended high-income schools outperformed those who attended low-income schools, even if the low-income schools had the best and most expensive intervention. It's the human resources that make the difference. The student body, in which everyone just assumes that they'll be going to college. The faculty, made up of teachers that sought out career positions in calmly academic environments. And the parents with the resources and the time to run a PTA and to volunteer in school. So even with all of these parents and all of these teachers desperately wanting our children to succeed, not every child succeeds. And in America, the children that do and don't succeed are statistically predictable by family income and by race. This gap feels to me like the Grand Canyon. We used to call it the achievement gap, but I and teachers like me are renaming it the opportunity gap, because it is fundamentally about the resources and opportunities available to families. The opportunity gap is big. It's real. I see it every day in my classroom, and it's scary. And we all have a responsibility to unravel it, but I'm not going to unravel the whole thing today. Instead, I'd like to talk about one simple thing that teachers can do and one simple thing that parents can do to get our kids across that gap. When teachers reach out to parents and parents reach out to teachers, our connection bridges the gap. Every day, I see students working hard to cross the gap, and too often crossing the gap feels like this. Would you put the person who you love most in the whole world on that bridge? What if you didn't know what was on the other side, whether it was worth it or not? What if when you were a kid, you tried to cross the same gap and had a bad experience? What if the people on the other side didn't treat you very well? And what if the person you love is afraid? Every year, I take students on a service trip, and I have seen During the adventure part of our trip, hundreds of them faced down ropes, courses, and rock walls. And some of them, like this courageous young woman, can overcome their fears. But for most of us, our aversion to risk is so great that we avoid anything that appears rickety or unreliable. For most of us, we need a better way across the gap. At first, I thought of teachers as the bridge builders in education. After all, we do create opportunities for our students to get across the gap every single day, but over time, I now realize that it's networks of schools and families and community groups that build the bridges. Programs like the National College Readiness AVID program, and in the district where I teach, the Power of You, which pays for all St. Paul Public Schools graduates to go to St. Paul College for free. Teachers do help build the bridges, but we have a more up-close and personal role. We are down on the ground in the classrooms, and we know which students get on the bridge and get across and which ones don't. And we often know why. And a lot of days, we feel helpless about it because teachers don't make the big decisions in education yet. We don't have the power to build these bridges to make them more welcoming or inclusive. But we do have the power and the privilege to work with individuals. We can get down on the trail with our students and their families, and we can find their safest crossing. And furthermore, because teachers are devoted and caring, our families trust us to help them. We are the trail guides. We know how to help, and we can build relationships that offer up opportunities to help. I had an opportunity to help this young man last spring. He doesn't look very happy in this picture, and he's not. He's angry with me. We are at the top of a ropes course in northern Minnesota, and that's Lake Superior in the background. And as I'm snapping this picture, he's saying to me, "I hope you're happy." And then he said, "No one's ever gotten me this far out of my comfort zone before." And it turned out that this student, even though he had fundraised all year to go on this service trip, at the last minute started to act like he didn't want to go. So I emailed his parents, and I asked them if they knew what was going on. And they told me that he is deeply shy, and he was worried that he wouldn't know any of the other kids on the trip. And so between the three of us, his mom and his dad and me, we figured out which of the kids going he knew, and we talked to him about it, and he did decide to go after all. And let me tell you, he opened up on this trip like you wouldn't believe. Sure, I mean, he completed a ropes course several stories above the ground, but he did something even harder for himself. He opened up to his peers. He started conversations, even with the adults chaperoning the trip. When we had a problem to solve, he said solutions. And at the end of the day, when we were sitting around the campfire, he made everybody laugh. Social connection was this student's gap. And he closed it on the trip because I reached out to his parents. I've been teaching this student for years, and she is smart and mysterious and capable. And like every other teenager on the planet, she faces some obstacles to her academic success. And whenever she hits a little bump in the road, her mom and I are back and forth on the phone. We make sure that she registers for all the accelerated classes. We make sure that she stays in them. And then when she needs some support, we make sure she gets it. And this fall, her mom said to me, "My daughter is staying with you. She's staying in your advisory because you call me. You are the teacher who calls me." So here is one simple thing that teachers can do to close the gap. We can reach out to parents. If every day we picked up the phone or sent an email to one family and started one positive conversation about one kid, say, "Oh, I don't know, I really liked the way your daughter asked me about the homework assignment," or "Your son had some really great comments in our class discussion today." At the end of a month, that teacher will have 20 positive relationships with 20 different families. That's 20 families walking around saying, "Our teacher really cares about our kid." And that's 20 families who are eager to pick up the phone now when you call and eager to read your emails because they expect something positive to happen. And you know what? The more I connect with parents, the more positive stuff does happen. Those moments of connection give me the details that make the difference. They teach me what I need to know to help a kid. The best evidence I have of those moments of connection are the letters and notes I get from students and parents. And like many teachers, I keep them in a box. A lot of teachers have the special box where we keep all the letters. Mine is right next to my desk. It's in the top drawer of the blue filing cabinet. When I have a hard day, I open up that drawer and open up that box, and I read those letters, and they give me confidence and energy and strength. They make it possible for me to go forward unafraid, to advocate for my students, to say what they need to get me down on the trail, finding the best path for them. Parent connection gets me moving. So here is one simple thing that parents can do to get students across the gap Reach out to teachers. Give us the details we need to make the difference. Historian Howard Zinn, who wrote A People's History of the United States, says that we don't have to engage in grand, heroic actions to participate in the process of change. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. The natural tendency, unfortunately, has been to leave teachers and parents out of the big decisions. So teachers don't make the big decisions in education, and neither do parents. But until we do, we should not ignore the myriad of little decisions we already do make. We know our kids, and we make countless little decisions every day that impact their chances of success. What a powerful gift for a student to know my parents and teachers are working together. They want the same success for me. When you combine the tidal force power of parental love with the professional expertise of a devoted teacher, we can get our kids across the gap. Together, we can transform our schools into collaborative communities that put the children we live our lives for at the heart of all that we do. Thank you.
How totally inspiring and motivating, and how totally relatable to me. I have been inspired and motivated by this video many times. The teacher needs to just take very simple steps to get closer to the parents, and you can open up a wonderful world for the child. And like she said at the end, okay, it is so powerful for the child to know that my parent and my teacher are working together. So this this webinar is going to focus on our partnerships with our the parents and the families, and of course why it is important in the IB also. So I'll just be sharing screen with you all. Okay. I when before just starting this particular session, I became aware of this fact that how much I am and I have been focusing on the involvement of parents in the early years. It's not that something that we really want. It's something that we are doing, and I'm very proud of. I am very proud of my parent community in the early years here. We are like a big family, and I can't be thankful enough for having such a wonderful set of parents. So thank you so much, parent, before I start this. Now, this webinar is definitely going to help teachers also to be inspired, and of course, parents also to get more involved, and of course, maybe even or more, get more closer to the school. Yes. So partnering with families is our this session. Um, Again, about me, as you know, I'm an experienced elementary teacher and an early years team leader, and of course, a passionate early years facilitator and inquiry teacher. All right. The webinar focus is actually going to be on a very broad aspect of being in a relationship with families, a teacher and family relationship. That when schools partner with families, families have the opportunity to authentically and actively contribute to the community's strength and success. This builds on the agency of all community members and has a positive impact on both student and the learning. Now, before we talk a little more about how parent involvement helps students in their early years, we would let us look at a short video where we can see how we look at it from an IB perspective.
Hello, Christopher. How was his first week at school, Miss Kurian?
Great. He can't stop talking about his unit of inquiry. And he described himself as a risk taker yesterday when he chose to work with some new people. I was hoping to talk to you about how I could be more involved in the school. Maybe it will help me understand why my son thinks he's a risk taker.
Of course. Parents are such an integral part of our learning community, and there's lots of ways to get involved. For example, we invite parents to share their talents and expertise when it relates to a unit of inquiry. It helps students to connect what they learn here with its application in the real world. Finn's dad is here to talk about radiology as part of the class's inquiry into systems. Another way to support Christopher's learning, well-being and agency is by coming to his student-led conference. Isha is telling her parents about her successes, challenges and goals in her learning journey, as well as her development of learner profile attributes. I'm sure Christopher will share how he has grown as a risk taker in his.
Oh, what a wonderful way to learn about my son's education.
Another way to get involved is in policy reviews. Our family's perspectives are valuable in shaping our policies and how we put them into action in the school. This group of teachers, parents and administrators is reviewing our language policy to make sure it reflects our mission. One thing they've identified is how home and family languages can be better supported.
Oh, wow. I've never been involved in policy discussions before. I'm not sure whether I could help.
Of course you could. You might feel a little uncertain about what you can contribute, but you can be a risk taker just like Christopher.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Thank you for showing me how to get involved in Christopher's learning journey. It's easy to see why he feels comfortable being a risk taker here.
We're very excited to have you here. Be sure to keep an eye on our communications to look for even more ways to get involved.
Thank you for watching. Okay. Um, as you've seen in the video, we have been doing a lot of these practices in our school too. We have had parents coming in, being a part of our policy making discussions. We have had we've had them reviewing our policies, of course, and also, of course, as you are aware, we have had our parents conduct guest lectures too. A parent this year did conduct a guest lecture for us, teaching the kids how to make presentations, and we do this in our other classrooms too. We do these. We do adopt these strategies to involve parents in various ways. And here you can see that I have documented the Diwali celebration process. We had our parent community being involved right from the beginning. The objective here was that they should be aware of the entire planning process that happens, and um, being able to make the decisions along with the students, with the teachers. It was a very enriching experience over here, where we had a few parents coming in after the school hours, helping in making the decorations. And as you can see, the teachers are involved along with the parents. Then there are students who are involved along with the teachers and parents. So it was a very energetic and healthy atmosphere that we had, of course. And it did not stop at that. We went ahead and celebrated together. The final day, you can see the students and the teachers are helping in the decorations and involving themselves to make the place a much more vibrant and happier place over here. And we have had such kind of events, other than the ones which have been promoted by the IB, as you have seen in the video earlier, that parents are here in all our sessions. In most of our sessions, the parent community is represented by a lot of parents, not only to make the program better, or to be more involved in the planning of maybe different policies, or events, or academics, but also in being a part of celebrating that joy together. This is a very unique aspect which I think the early years here has adopted, and something that the rest of the school community looks forward to. We have had the students and teachers from the various sections of our school walking in to join in. It is always something that they look forward to, and something that we are also, of course, really proud of. So that is the reason that I have documented this process, to show that it does not only it does not only mean being a part of PTMs or parent teacher associations, but also being a part of celebrations. And of course, families does not only mean parents, it also means cousins and grandparents and uncles and aunts. So we did have a grandparents day session also, where we had our grandparents coming in. They were equally involved with the teachers and the students and the parents. These are such beautiful pictures where the entire community is working and celebrating together. So parent volunteers are needed to, of course, as mentioned in the earlier webinar, also to promote the inquiry and, of course, ensure and understand the thought process behind the planning process. Now, some of what we believe in is that some of the child's most important cognitive development happens during their school in the early years. By taking an active role in the earlier education process, parents can help ensure that their child has all the support they need to develop to their full potential. Parent involvement helps extend teaching outside the classroom, creates a more positive experience for children, and helps children perform better than when they are in school. It is essential for parents to support the learning that happens in the early years, in the earlier settings at home as well. Parents who are in tune with what is happening in their child's preschool classroom are better able to establish a connection between what is learned at school and what takes place in the home. The connection is the key component of a child's development and supporting of further learning. So here we have seen two different aspects of partnering with families. First is something which is advocated by the IB, that we need the parent has to be equally involved in our entire planning process, whether it is academics or related to our policies or anything at all. And secondly, here we have seen that how them being involved more in the earliest classroom is going to lead, of course, to their development and their growth. And secondly, giving us a feel of a family. And thankfully we have had such amazing set of parents that each day we are growing and learning. Before ending this webinar, uh, a few things which I know, which we have observed and which we have had um, had a discussion about is that when parents come into the classroom, there are two things which happen. That first, teachers learn about family's culture, and the family sees what the teacher, well, what the child is learning. That this two-way street is a big win for the child's development. um, in early childhood in education, we need to understand that there are cultural biases, and we need to be aware that where the family is coming from. If we want our students to grow and learn in the same manner, we need to understand what they are going through. um, as being an experienced teacher in this field, I understand the importance and try to be more approachable to the parents, though being as though I might want to be more involved, and it might be not happening during to other pressures. But um, sometimes I feel that new teachers do feel a bit intimidated, when this happens. So this is a kind of a suggestion to the new teachers, that you can try to listen to the parents, answer to their questions, and try to understand that there are many parents who are also first time parents. If you are a new teacher, definitely there are parents which are first time parents. Now, what is the importance of family involvement in childhood education actually? When parents become involved in early childhood education, it is more likely that they will also be later involved in kindergarten, also and throughout the school experience. So, whatever activities and routines they learn at school, they can continue that at home, and of course, definitely strengthen the child's brain development further. So practices that cause our brains to pattern, our brains to develop. If families are also involved in these activities and they're experiencing the same thing at home, the reward is going to definitely be much stronger, and of course it is going to build on their knowledge also much more. And what I have observed in these, these online classes, that along with our students, our parents are also developing their skills. They are so much involved in the early childhood classroom of the parents of their child, that they have, many a times given the feedback on several occasions that they are learning and growing with their child. So it is not only essential for the children to have this consistency, but it is also valuable for the parents, because it shows that they can be active participants in the child's learning. Okay. We believe over here that families make a difference in the children's classroom, and we would definitely encourage more parent volunteers, so that we build a more healthy relationship and seek more parent involvement. Um, Definitely, though there is a danger of parents not being interested in the classroom, thankfully we have not had such experiences. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, but for them we try to send them these daily updates, and of course share pictures, so that they have a feeling of being involved in their child's growing. Now it's not because you don't want to. There are definitely a lot of parents who want to, but they have a lot of constraints, like they are working parents, or sometimes the distance, and there are many more things which which do not allow them to walk into the classroom and be more involved as they want to be. But they definitely show involvement, and they can definitely show involvement through different ways and through different approaches. And so it has been a wonderful journey partnering with families, and we hope to continue doing so. This webinar, I'm sure, will inspire teachers to to have those use those tiny approaches towards parents, like that I mentioned in the earlier video about sending daily notes, appreciating the students, and being connected personally with the families. And of course I'm sure it has also helped the parents to understand how important their role is being when they are involved in their child's learning in the preschool. So yes, so I would like to thank you all for being a part of this webinar, and thank you for being learning and growing with us. We hope to conduct another series of webinars soon. So thank you, parents. Thank you so much. And do parents have any questions or anything that they would like to share? You are welcome to, or otherwise it's just fine. But I would like to thank parents, take this opportunity to thank you personally.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And be involved, keep growing and learning with us. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.